It's been a minute since I been to purgatory. They try to kill my moms. They say it makes a preferred story. Thrown out the womb, awaken in the tomb. Bodes, make yourself comfortable. We've had a stake in your bloom. Tell me, do you think I'm the devil for trying to get the measurement level, the point pedaled? War of the discrete versus the continuous. To measure her is to delete her. The fuck you think is consciousness? Process interruption, a corruption. Platonic ideals deviate from base bliss. Perpetually interesting cause the record's acacic. Pray in the entrance of the apprentice. Every soul result in a new prime number. Heavy mysticism, just fancy math to put you in a slumber. Steady gnosis leads you towards feeling like a sociopath. Deadly craft, god, devil, contrast. You merely poke the cash.
Comatose, overdose, conversations, Holy Ghost. Hold me close and blow me smoke. Kiss my lips and let me go. This is a deadly mix. Take one more before I'm fixed. Close my eyes and reminisce before the pain and brokenness. But I can't recall any of those memories. Demons in my head again and suicidal remedies. Feeling like I'm falling deep into this misery. Desperation, let it seep. Deliver me, take me away from the pain and the evil. Got me a life back, see the regal. Devils watching, speaking to see you. Popping pills, lean fiend, and we too. Xanny, Demerol, Phenol, Oxy, Viking, Perky, Adderall, Morphine, Valium, Ativan, Cloud, we too. I did it all, everything in between two.
Greedy for the hacks, needles in my back. Fuck my shit up, ow y'all. Hit me with the howl doll.
Night sweats, cold head, stripped naked on a cold bed. IV fluid and adrenaline shot. Wake up from hell with my soul shed.
Drooling on myself, sedated as hell. Going catatonic, lacking responses.
I'm paralyzed alive, silenced, sterilized. Cover your face with your mask up well, but I can still see through and behind your eyes.
I wanna be famous for falling in love. I went to the hospital. They put me in a bed. 'Cause I always do. My mother said, why should I lie about results of a test? I may soon be gone to pluck on up.
Chop it up, 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 let's talk, let's talk. Chop it up, 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 let's talk, let's talk. Chop it up, 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 let's talk, chop it up.
Yo, it's the Chop It Up podcast. This your host, Hawklyfe.
Yo, what's up? Oh, sorry. What's up, boys? This is Murrls. We got a special guest in the building today. Hawk, would you give the introduction?
Yeah, man, we got independent artists. He done collab with a few people. Guess. Introduce yourself.
What up? This is Bodes. That's Bodes with a 0.
Yes, sir. Tell the people about yourself. Give them a little background on you.
Well, I really got into music. I'm an old man. I'm like 38. I got into music age 21. I was in college. I started smoking that herb, you know. I started freestyling, just kind of finding the magic of improv. And that made me fall in love with music in general. I mean, always loved music, but that really made me fall in love with it, you know?
Yeah.
I got a question before we even get down. After listening to your album, I gotta know, how's the production? Who's handling the production? Are you doing the production? Who's making the beats? Who's making these instrumentals? and what's the story on them, and who?
Yeah, pretty much the whole album is self-produced except
Oh,
for the track "Afraid." "Afraid" was done by my homie Tim Dunphy. He's in that Bodes Discord as well, by the way, if you ever want to holler at him. But basically, what is it, like 11 tracks? 10 out of 11 were written and produced by me. And yeah, like it's been a long journey because I wasn't happy just doing the vocal side. I wanted to learn the whole game, you know.
Right.
respect that 100%. I haven't made that journey yet, but it's on my list. And when I hear production value, like stuff like, let's say, Woman of Truth and Future, stuff like
Yeah.
Off Meds, We Thank Her. That gives me inspiration, especially the first one I listed what a ending, what a fucking ending to flip, because it was very, if I can ad lib a little bit, it was very ominous and a uplifting ominous.
Exact, bro. Thank you. I'm glad you caught the vibe.
Wow, and then when you get to Woman of Truth, it just flips the script for a little bit, and it's that ray of hope and future.
Yes, yes. I'm glad you caught the vibe. That was exactly what I was going for, man. It's
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You did a lot of collaborations with who, and what was your favorite collaboration? Collaboration.
Yeah, so collaborations, my cousin Brad, he's my older cousin, he's been kind of checking me my whole life, keeping me
Yeah.
straight. And he's a crazy motherfucker. He's on two of the tracks.
So that's
His
Sabbath,
shit-
right?
yeah, Brad Sabbath. He's
Okay,
like
that's dope. Y'all have a really good chemistry. That makes sense now.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, he's on a whole different vibe. He's doing like trap metal type shit, but I got him to calm down a little bit for my album, because I like a little bit more of the instrumental, just kind of vibey shit. And basically, he's on two of the tracks, and then I had my homie Kick Gnarl sing on the track Rosicrucian, and he's like a singer songwriter, almost like an indie rock, kind of folky type dude. And I just wanted, like there's a Aesop Rock song where he spits a bunch of bars, and then this dude comes on in the end and like sings like the last verse, and like it's just such a dope feeling to me when you have like that combination of elements. So like that's what I wanted him to kind of close it out, singing. That's kind of what I like anyways, is just like diversity of styles.
Yeah, the indie rock pop
I
style.
respect that. Yeah. So I'm gonna spit a couple names here, and I want to tell you how close I am and how far off the mark I am for inspiration. We're gonna start production wise. John Wayne,
Yeah,
Milo,
yeah,
Aesop Rock,
yeah.
Mac Miller from like the Faces era, and LP in a weird way.
Bro, yes,
Is that close at all?
you're real on target. John Wayne, I mean, I haven't listened to like he's got a big catalog. I've only heard maybe a couple
Yeah,
albums.
huge
But
catalog.
I love what I've heard. LP, I've heard everything by ever since like Company Flow. I'm a huge LP head. Uh, and I don't even remember who else you said, but like every one of them I look up to. Flying Lotus, yes, that's one of my favorite artists. I'm a Flying Lotus
About that, but
fanboy.
yes, I do see the Flying Lotus production wise, especially their melodies, especially their melodies.
Yeah, that track he has with Kendrick, "Never Gonna Catch Me" or whatever. Like, I kind of stole some of the structure that, not well, but on Off Meds We Think, or I kind of stole some ideas from "Never Gonna Catch Me." And like the thing is like when I steal an idea, I flip it in a way to where no one's ever gonna even know. You know what I mean? But like if I break down the rhythms for you or something, you might see it like, oh shit.
See, I wasn't even thinking that. Whenever I mentioned those tracks, those were the most original in my like. Okay, you have the more structured. I mean, this was a very unstructured album in a good way. Like it was very mostly because you're adding these very beautiful instrumentals that are more. It's more like listening to, I guess, lo-fi beats to study to mixed with EDM. Like that nice mix of like introspection. Like I felt like I was listening to a sci-fi album at some effects whenever we're going into instrumentals. Like you don't know what's gonna happen next. You're off in the wild wonder. Saying that, I thought Off Meds We Think Her was the most original of inspiration. I didn't even hear that or see that whenever I was listening to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did a lot of different shit with it, but like some of the drum patterns and shit, like I'm very studied on music theory. So to give you an example, like on I think like Black Bill Cosby, some of them drum patterns are actually Danny Carey, Tool's drummer. I'd flip some of his patterns. Or I'm gonna give up some game right now. Like you can load up like a crazy prog rock track in your DAW, and then take those transients and then put your MIDI notes right underneath those transients, and then boom, now you have like a sick drum pocket, from like a legendary drummer like Ryan or shit. I don't know. I don't think most people know to do shit like that because they're not as good at the computer shit. But like I'm really good at the computer shit.
Yeah, yeah. I got a dude makes beats. Shout out to Dogface. He fucks with he's from Macedonia, so he has all these weird Eastern European samples, this fucking 70s folk shit. And he's like, listen to this record my parents have. Now look what I did with the drum beat on it. Look at this, look at this, look at this. And I'm just like, dude, this sounds nothing like what you originally showed me. This is amazing. Like I completely respect the game. I haven't really delved into it with the physicality of doing it myself, but it's an amazing art.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's been honestly like music saved my life. And I mean, since you listen to the album, I'm sure you can tell because like I've been in some bad spots and like music was sort of like my journey to it gave me a purpose, right?
Can definitely tell. And to build off that, so titles of songs, how do you come about them? Is it as self-evident in the sequencing, or is there some hidden like tricks and things that we might not get just from listening to the music?
Yeah, okay. So the titles, I usually title the song after it's written. If it's a song with lyrics, then it's usually I title it after all the lyrics are written. There are some little secrets in there. Some are so kind of cryptic that like it might be like an inside joke to my wife or something. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of weird like that, which some people might think is like autistic or whatever, but I don't care, man. I love it. And like I basically there is a sequence to the album, by the way, like a linear story. It's not obvious, but it is there. And the song titles sort of hint at it a little bit, you know what I mean? Because like you said, like "Woman of Truth and Future," right? Like that's like the phoenix rising at the end of the album. And so like the album does tell a story. I mean, I worked on that thing like 5 years.
Some work, man. As someone who's just recently been putting out music, it's hard. It's hard when you make something. You're like, okay, this is fire. I gotta show my boys. I gotta mix it. I gotta get it ready. I gotta put it out. Like it's time. I'm still struggling with that. Like if I get something even remotely better, like if I broke whatever glass ceiling that I was previously under, I'm like, okay, this may be shit, but the world needs to hear this now. I need to put it out. And it's hard to keep that patience. How do you keep that level of patience and holding on to, I guess, your treasures? Because it is your treasure.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, I took the opposite approach. I have kind of like a against the grain type personality. I kind of when I see everybody moving up, I go down. That's just my personality. So like to me, I saw the trend was like make these short little songs and everything is kind of like release it fast and only singles matter now. And I was just thinking like for me, the music I love, all my favorite shit are like dope albums. I like, you know, uh the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. I like Deltron 3030. I like, fucking Kendrick to Pimp a Butterfly, right? Like all this shit where like the whole album blows your mind. And so I knew that's what I wanted. And but it was hard to because like this is my first real project. I mean, I got little singles and shit flowing around, but like this was my first real big project. So it was hard to do it the way I did, and it was against the grain. Like everyone told me, like, what the fuck are you doing? That's not even like you're wasting your time, blah, blah, blah. But what the thing for me was all I knew was I wanted to make an album I would listen to, like an album I thought was dope. So like since that was my only goal and I was obsessed with that vision, it was easy for me to stick to it, because I just set my expectations properly. Like I never really had no expectation of getting any people listening to my shit or nothing. I really didn't because, you know, I mean, on the personal level, I'm just like a nerdy white dude, you know, and I'm from Nebraska, which I kind of hide that a little bit because of marketing reasons. But basically, uh, you know, it's like uh, I just felt like, you know, I wanted a dope album and I was obsessed with that idea, you know. And I wrote down every day when I woke up, I am making a classic album. I wrote it 15 times a day, every day, like a nutcase, man.
Yeah, man. So basically, you've been in the industry a minute. Like you say, you're 38. I'm a little bit younger than you. And I know you've been in the music industry a little minute, and you chose to stay independent. I believe in artists to staying independent and owning their music and owning their rights. Um, what was the ultimate factor that made you want to stay independent and not want to join one of these big labels? And any advice you can give to any up and coming artists that's coming out?
Yeah, and Hawk, can you turn your mic up just a little bit, bro? I can barely hear you, but I heard the question. It was, why'd I stay independent, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Uh, well, okay, like even though I'm independent, I am really serious about networking and making connections, you know. And I feel like nowadays the model it's going towards anyways is kind of like everybody's independent, but you kind of have to learn to operate with each other on like a business to business sense, you know. Like there's people in my scene that I fuck with heavy, you know. And I mean, I decided to do that because it was just the most obvious approach. Because like basically, I knew my lyrics were not stuff that like the mainstream wants to talk about, and so there was no. I mean, maybe there are some kind of more eccentric labels that would maybe give my ideas a chance, but I felt like I hadn't really earned it. You know, like so. For example, a label I love is Brain Feeder. You know, you mentioned Flying Lotus. I love Stone's Throw. You know what I mean? I love Madlib. Like, yeah, if those cats yelled at me, man, I'd had to fucking be like, yo, let's talk. I'd be fucking super flattered. But like honestly, now it's like it don't even matter, right? Like I'm more interested in making my city pop, making my shit pop. And it's like and what I'm learning is like basically that's sort of the move now, anyways, is like build your own and then reach out to these other labels and operate on like that business to business level. Like here in the Midwest, we got strange music, you know, and they're kind of, I feel like they might make moves, you know, they might expand outside of Kansas City, and it's like I hope they do because it's like, you know, just everybody help everybody, you know what I'm saying? And like we're all looking for that help and that support, but nobody want, or I shouldn't say nobody, but most people don't want to like build it themselves, right? Like build it and they will come, you know.
Right. And the only reason I say that about the independent thing is because I feel like, and I've said this on multiple podcasts, and I'm gonna say it again. A lot of these labels, probably mainly the big ones, the ones that stand out, Epic and Atlantic and Def Jam and all those that stand
Interscope.
in the scope, all those that stand out. They, I think, basically what they're doing, they're ruining the creative process for the artists, and not only that, I feel as though these artists are not getting their value. Then I think as an artist, you should protect your craft and your value.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would love financial assistance. I mean, any labels listening, hey, you know, I mean, I'm not against money, but the thing is that I will not compromise my artistic message. You know, because my dream was more about being able to say what's on my chest. I want to get this shit off my chest. The dream wasn't fucking dollar bills to me. I never got hypnotized by that. I'm blessed in that way. Like it means more to me to be able to say what's on my mind than it is to have a cooler looking car. You know what I mean? That's everybody's got to decide for themselves. Like what are your values? What's really important to you? If you want all that glamour, then great, go for it. But like that just wasn't what I was wanting, you know.
Respect. To go back to the music a little bit, you mentioned 38 Chambers. You mentioned The Pimp a Butterfly. You mentioned what was the third one that you mentioned?
Deltron.
Delta. Oh fuck yeah. Deltron 3030 tatted on my chest. Anyway,
Sick.
fucking so all those have one great thing in common, which I fucking approve and I love. Their skits are far beyond the pale of amazing classic. And I'm a skits man. I love all the great songs, but there's something about an album and its perfect arrangement that has amazing skits. And I did notice that, you forego the skits for instrumentals. Is there any future in skits for you? What lane are you gonna detect? Because like you mentioned, the 3030 skits are way different than the 36 chamber skits. And the Pimper Butterfly skits or even the Mad City skits are way different than those two. What lane do you want to inhabit in that, if you want to inhabit that at all?
Yeah, I mean that's a great point. I actually hadn't even thought about that. Those albums all do have banging skits. 36 Chambers has some hilarious skits. I'm gonna keep feeding you, and feeding you. Yeah, like you know, there are little like kind of there's a couple little samples and shit I throw on the tracks, like kind of segueing, but they aren't really long enough to be skits. Like I have a Freddie Gibbs sample in there. Actually, oh man, I hope they don't take my shit down saying that. Like, cause yeah, some of those samples, like I'm still working on clearing them. At the time I released it, I was, basically nobody, and it would have been more work to get the fucking sample clearance than it was to just be able to keep working the music. So I didn't stress it, but now I'm going circling back and I'm trying to get actual legit clearance on a lot of that shit because it's just out of respect, man. And it's like those are all artists I love that I sampled. So but what I'm trying to say is like as far as skits, like I think the way, like on a next album type thing, if I put skits on there, I like skits that are like kind of organic, like you and your homies just like riffing and bullshit, and you happen to catch like a funny moment, because like I'm thinking back to that 36 Chambers, like I was saying, right? Like there's a lot of little skits where you're hearing like Method Man bullshitting with Raekwon or whatever, and like you kind of you get a sense of like what the vibe of that crew is, and so maybe I'll just like spark a blunt or something and bullshit with Brad and see if we can flip that into a skit, like because that's the shit I like.
Okay.
Respect. Yes. Yeah. And
Hey,
not enough people do it. The last time recently that I've seen it been done is the Griselda Boys. I guess now you can call Boldy James. Boldy James does it the best recently. But it's an art. Like I don't personally. As I've gotten better at vocal mixing and just mixing in general, I've gotten into samplephilia a little bit, which is me just trying to learn more of a producing aspect, but also getting into making skits. I fucking love skits. And the way I've been releasing my EPs, they're short projects. It's not really room. Like if I put all the skits I'm making, that's going to be half of the time of the project is just going to be skits. So what I've done is I've started making advertisements for my album in the view of skits. Um, but yeah, you got to be creative with that shit, and not enough people are doing the way you described it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, now I don't know if I'm saying this right, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Tell us about Titrate. What was the process like making this album, and your favorite song on the album, and where does name come from? Because it's very unique.
Yeah, you did say it right. And basically, I came up with that name because like one of my big influences is the band Tool, right? Like when I was young, Anima came out and it just blew my fucking mind, man. I saw, Maynard performing like all in this blue body paint and shit, and like it blew my mind. And that's like they had like 15-minute songs and shit, and it just like I don't know, that shit blew my mind. So like I'm a big Tool fan, and so like the thing I noticed with their album titles was like they would a lot of times make up a new word for their album title. Like lateral is kind of, it's not really a word, I don't think, but they kind of combine two words. So titrate is combining titrate, which means to like raise or lower the dosage of something, and then the word wraith, which just means eager. So like really what I'm saying is like I'm eager to get off my medication because it's some bullshit. I'm not a big fan of standard psychiatric model. It's a struggle of mine. I keep getting into trouble with this shit. I've been in the hospital. I've been incarcerated in the fucking mental hospital like seriously like 17 times now. So So like that's a big influence on that album. Is just like, why do I keep getting put on this medication? Like I don't think it's good for me, and that struggle.
Yeah, I understand that struggle personally because my sister on antipsychotics and she bipolar, a little bit schizo. Uh, Even her children also on like those type of medicines, and the doses they giving them is a dose an adult should be taking, and not a child. So I get it. I
Yeah,
struggle and not want them to take the medicine and know they gonna act out. They're gonna be ADD, OD, whatever, because they're not on it and they're not calm. But I understand that struggle. I understand the mental health breakdowns and going through that. As a person who experienced that firsthand, first thing I like to tell people, and this coming from the heart, you're not in this process alone. Don't ever feel like you're in this process alone. I have to tell her that all the time because I understand the process and I understand it's a struggle in and out of hospitals, in and out of this, in and out of incarceration for substance abuse, whatever that cycle causes so much, and it's a big topic to talk about. And if there's anybody out there that's going through that, understand, reach out, talk to somebody. You're not in it alone. They got people
it,
that's fighting with you.
I appreciate it, and like it's a complex topic because even though I have like a contrarian view, the truth is like people might need to be on that medicine sometimes. I'm on lithium right now, and I really can't go off right now, even though I don't even believe in the shit. Like, but that shows you how complex it is. But matter of
Yeah,
fact, like that'll fuck your brain up right there. Like, why would you do something you don't even believe in, right? It's like what there's more to the story, and like it's such a complicated issue, and I'm just hoping to like get peace in my life with it, get stable and get healthy. That's I just want what everybody wants.
yeah, definitely. And I wish you all the peace in the world, man. That's anybody that's going through that. I wish y'all all the peace in the world. Because, I mean, today's suicide is running so rapid. Just a side note, I was reading this earlier. Um, Actually, and it kind of don't fit with the situation, but it fits. And with the suicide thing, um, Eric Murillo, who's an international DJ, was found deceased Tuesday in Miami. He committed suicide. He had a sexual battery charge. I don't care about what his personal problem is. I'm just trying to spotlight the suicide. The problem is things become too far to bear on people's hearts, and they tend to think that self-harming or self-loathing, as they call it, is the way to go. It's really not. Um, I would tell anybody that would have that type of mindset right now or feel like that. There's people going through worse things than you're going through. When you have those type of situations, think about the next person. Seek the help that you need. Suicide is not the key. In this man's case, I guess he was just running from his problems, his legal problems. But there's all that. It's like I said, it's one of those things that's really touchy, really, because I understand suicide these days are going up. You got officers committing suicide because it's Black Lives Matter things. You got people doing it because of their financial reasons. They having breakdowns. It's it's crazy. It really is. And there's hope though. To anybody listening, there's hope. All right.
And to quote a YouTuber that I watch a lot of political debates. We're not going to get into the politics here, but there's a YouTuber by the name of Destiny. He has I would guess it's a famous quote. It's a famous quote to me. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Amen.
And it sucks, but like if you're willing to like go with that permanent solution, you have to realize that that what you're feeling right now is temporary. Everything is temporary. Everything is ephemeral, and you just have to help that person realize that this really fucking sucks. But and beyond those words, indescribably does. Um, but it's a temporary problem, and permanent solutions aren't the answer to temporary problems.
It's not.
Yeah,
And you need to find
it's a
a instead of
complex
drug.
topic. It's something that I'm not super ready to speak on personally, but I've definitely been there. I'll just say that, and it's man, I
Yeah,
can't I can't even begin to tell you how bad of an idea it is. Like if you try something like that, you will regret it forever. That's how I'll say it. Like you can't undo a decision like that, and you will definitely regret it.
no,
So,
definitely.
on a lighter note, well, let us know if we're getting too personal. But as an older man, no, I'm not saying you're old, but as an older, more wiser man in the genre, you are married, as you said earlier. Give us the deets on the successfulness of marriage. What's your like? I mean, I'm not going to ask for pros and cons, but like, what gives to the longevity of such a deep and progressive union?
Man, it's crazy. We got married, and then like 1, 2 weeks later, whatever it was, COVID hit, and like it's like all of a sudden the world is ending. And
Yeah,
it's really been putting a stress on us, but somehow we're making through and we're doing good. And honestly, I feel like it's a positive thing because like right off the bat, we're finding out what we're made of. You know what I mean? Like uh that's great when the times are good, but it's like, can you get through when things are bad? You know what I mean? That's really what you want to find out. And I feel like a lot of couples they're too much walking on eggshells and afraid of going through the tough times together because they know they got a fragile relationship. But man, so far so good, man. Like I feel like it's going real well. And I got married basically, it was because you know, I I just felt like I'm a very superstitious person, and I just met that right person at that right time. It's like kind of like I was starting to get more romantic options than I could have ever imagined. And because I'm superstitious, I believe when the universe is kind of giving you everything, then you need to make a decision and go with it. Like, don't sit there and get greedy.
right.
Uh,
Mm.
so it's like, yeah, because like once the music shit started to pop a little bit more, like the romantic department became way easier. And, that was why I was like, all right, I'm getting the fuck out this game because like I don't want God thinking I'm greedy. Call me superstitious, but that's just how I feel.
No respect, man. I am now engaged actually, and it was because of COVID. We were waiting for the right moment. The world ended, and we realized that this fucking facade that our culture gives you, that you have to be 100% well off, 100% prepared. You got to be able to be ready for kids before you leap into that thing. I don't think it's true. And we talked about it, and we were like, "Fuck it, we're just gonna get engaged, and when we get married, it's gonna happen." And
Exactly.
I'm glad to hear people are able to take that leap of faith. It's very reassuring to me.
Oh man, it's been good, man, and knock on wood, it stays good. I'm very cynical, as you can tell by the lyrics on the album, but man, so far it all looks up right now.
Yeah, man. I just want to shout out my sister. She got married Sunday. Shout out to her. It's a new journey for her and her relationship. Um, Going through her, having somebody that's willing to deal with her sacrifices and her craziness, which is cool because it helps me. That means that's less craziness I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Thank you, Jesus. But I'm happy for them. Shout out to them. They on their way back from Las Vegas. They went and got married out in Las Vegas. So shout out to them. Shout out to anybody that's married and that's hanging in there and that's sticking and that's working through the good times and the bad times. Like my guy said, it's really about the bad times. I mean, how you can do it through that. You know, best marriages work when you're not selfless. When you're in a relationship, you can't be selfless. It's no more just depending on you. And I think a lot of people, that's why a lot of relationships crumble at, because people still be stuck in that. Well, I used to take care of myself. Now I got to focus on somebody else, and they're not used to it. And it's not, to them, it's not what it's cracked up to be. But when you have that type of sacrifice and you accept that type of blessing, you realize just how much of a blessing that it really can be. So,
Yeah, and then for me, it's a huge blessing because, just with my mental health, like if I do have an episode, just knowing that someone's gonna give a shit, because if I don't have somebody, my mom passed away and my dad, I mean, I ain't gonna have him forever. It's like somebody needs to be there to care for you when the shit gets real bad. Because if you ain't got that, all you got is the system. And let me tell you, you want a better option than having to depend on the system.
Oh, especially the American system. Holy fucking shit.
Exactly.
No, but I feel that. And as a younger dude, you know, I'm 24. These past 3 years that I've been in relationships with this woman, it's really been that change of like, you know, I've never like relied on my parents, but like I know like if I hit fucking rock bottom, I can at least stay at their place for a couple days, or at least I can like, you know what I'm saying? They were like, I guess not an anchor, but like an anchor and emotional anchor. But as I've grown through this relationship, it's been more of like, okay, this is really the most important person in my life. This is really what family is, you know, as an adult.
Exactly. You just priority straight. You start setting your priority list. When you get married, you start a new family. Your family exists, but that's the family you're supposed to focus on first. And that's how that works. And yeah, I'm happy for anybody that's found them somebody that's that is solid and they in it for the long run. You got a good person, keep them. I respect what he said about not being greedy. If you got a good person, keep them because the grass ain't always greener on the other side. You're gonna go over there and you're gonna realize it ain't real grass.
Once you eat the grass, there's not long till it's just dirt and soil.
You're gonna be eating turf. Yeah. No, you know what I'm
So to go back to the music boats, now you are someone I would classify, like I said earlier, John Wayne. We're talking about Stone's Throw. We're talking about I know we haven't mentioned, but Rhyme Sayers. We mentioned Aesop. As someone rooted in influences of the underground scene, makes music that I would say be indicative of the underground scene. What underground artists are you listening to right now that you're like, damn, they really carving out their own lane in the underground scene? You know what I'm saying? Like they're not placating to the top 40 sounds. They're really, you know, playing their influences. You know what I mean? Like who are you seeing right now that's doing that?
Well, like it's not super underground, but I gotta shout out Earl Sweatshirt. I gotta shout out Mac Homie. They're
Oh,
fucking dope as
fucking
shit,
love that
man.
comedy, bro. Mm.
Yeah, you know, the God Fahim, Mac Homie, those guys are incredible.
Do you fuck with Lefty? Do you fuck with Left Lane D Don?
I probably have heard him, you know what I'm saying? Like I have
He's been on a bunch of dump tapes. Yeah, he's been on a bunch of the Fahim tapes.
yeah, like I the shit is dope and then uh not really underground, not really hip hop, but Akira the Don, he makes a bunch of instrumentals mixed with like self-help shit.
Hmm.
And bro, that's just all I've been listening to on repeat. Like it's like he'll play like
Dude, that sounds dope. I've never heard of that, man. You gotta link me. You gotta link me that shit. I always think that shit.
yeah. It's called I'm trying to remember the name of the meaning wave, right? So basically he'll take like Alan Watts, the philosopher, and then chop him up and put him on a beat, you know, and like it sounds kind of stupid, but man, it's really good if you're like working out or you're studying, you know. And it's super inspirational. And so I've been listening to a lot of that. Uh and then there's some artists in my region that I've been listening to more, you know, trying to catch up with my own city because for the longest time I ignored it, you know, but then you start doing shows and you got to kind of get to know your own city. Oh, but I left out the most important of all, uh Arc expansions of Q. You got to check them out. Brandon Medellin, they are San Antonio cats, Austin, Texas cats, and they are, bro. In my opinion, they're on the fucking Madlib level. They're on the Flying Lotus level. It's just they haven't popped yet. But absolutely, everybody should check out Expansions of Q Arc. They are incredible, and they're homies too. Like I went full fanboy on them on Instagram. Like if I'm somebody's fan, I'm gonna keep trying to get at you until I get through because I'm just like I'm a music lover, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. Any upcoming projects, shout outs you want to make?
Well, so tentatively, me and Brad are supposed to be making a group album. We've been talking about it forever. It's called Div Dev, and I mean, I don't know when it's gonna come out or when we're gonna finally get it done because it's gonna be so far out, you know, and so ridiculous because our styles keep going opposing directions. But I feel like it's kind of like Big Boy and Andre, you know, it's like Outkast had two completely different styles and yet they made it work, right? So like that's kind of where me and Brad are at is like we want to make this group album, but it takes time because you know we got to kind of figure out how do we make a track we both love, you know. Um, so like that'll come out eventually, and then I'm working on another solo album. Originally, I thought it was gonna be more upbeat, you know, but then I had a bunch of tragedy happen, like a bunch of bad shit at the same time as COVID. So now I don't know. I'm pissed off again. I'm depressed again. I don't even know what this album's about to be. But that album is tentatively titled Open Source Suppression. And I'll probably rename it to something more cryptic, but I like giving out the explicit name right now. And the album is basically saying they are giving you the game as they're oppressing you. You know, don't complain about it. Look at the fucking game. Play it back on them, you know? And so
Exactly.
yeah, that's the vibe of the next one.
Exactly. Man, we gonna play one of his songs at the end of the podcast. But man, shout out Bodes for coming in, man, and doing the interview, man. We're gonna be getting out here. This the Chop It Up podcast. I'm your host, Hawklyfe, and my guy Murrls.
You
It's
know,
been,
we just doing it here.
and it's been the Chop It
Hey,
Up. It's been the Chop It
thank
Up
you for
podcast.
having me.
Oh, no
Of course,
problem.
man. You know, we anyone who's putting the work in, we want to have them on, and we love to talk to Brad. I really dug Brad's shit. I really dug the folk singer. Like, we're not just like I want to eventually, expand from just rap. I would like to talk to the folk singer that was on the second to last track. That dude, Kick Gnarl, he was, he had that groove. I like that shit.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Thank you. You guys are amazing and you made my day.
Chop It Up, the podcast. Chop it up. Let's talk.
It's been a minute since I been to purgatory. They try to kill my moms. They say it makes a preferred story. Thrown out the womb, awaken in the tomb. Bodes, make yourself comfortable. We've had a stake in your bloom. Tell me, do you think I'm the devil for trying to get the measurement level, the point pedaled? War of the discrete versus the continuous. To measure her is to delete her. The fuck you think is consciousness? Process interruption, a corruption. Platonic ideals deviate from base bliss. Perpetually interesting cause the record's Akashic. Pray in the entrance of the apprentice. Every soul result in a new prime number. Heavy mysticism, just fancy math to put you in a slumber. Steady gnosis leads you towards feeling like a sociopath. Deadly craft, god, devil, contrast. You merely poke the cash.
Comatose, overdose, conversations, Holy Ghost. Hold me close and blow me smoke. Kiss my lips and let me go. This is a deadly mix. Take one more before I'm fixed. Close my eyes and reminisce before the pain and brokenness. But I can't recall any of those memories. Demons in my head again and suicidal remedies. Feeling like I'm falling deep into this misery. Desperation, let it seep. Be Jesus, deliver me. Take me away from the pain and the evil. Got me the light backseat of a regal. Devils watching, speaking to see you. Popping pills, lean fiend, and we too. Xanny, Demerol, Phenol, Oxy, Viking, Perky, Adderall, Morphine, Valium, Ativan, Cloud, too. I did it all, everything in between two.
Greedy for the hacks, needles in my back. Fuck my shit up, ow y'all. Hit me with the howl doll.
Night sweats, cold head, stripped naked on a cold bed. IV fluid and adrenaline shot. Wake up from hell with my soul shed.
Drooling on myself, sedated as hell. Going catatonic, lacking responses.
I'm paralyzed alive, silence sterilized. Cover your face with your mask up well, but I can still see through and behind your eyes.
I wanna be famous. hospital. They put me in a bed, 'cause I always do. My mother said, why should I lie about results of a test? I may soon